Hi guys, this video is on combining like terms. And this assignment was the pixel art, combining like terms in expressions pixel art that we kind of looked at last week. So I want to continue with that and make sure that we can combine like terms. Combining like terms means adding and subtracting terms that can go together. And remember, terms are things in an algebraic equation. And I want to remind everybody what that looks like so you feel comfortable with that. I'm going to pull up a quick whiteboard to remind you real quickly of what we're talking about. Give it a second for it to pop up. Hopefully it will. So, a term. An algebraic equation. I'm just going to make one up. 3x plus 2 equals 16. Okay, so for example, this is an algebraic equation. An expression means it does not have an equal sign. And when we use these, each thing inside or part of the equation is a term. So each one of these is a term inside of the equation. Numbers this is the solution side, and we always want to put the equation on the left, even if we have to turn it around, because it makes it so much easier to solve. Okay, so let's talk about what these parts are. This is the variable. All letters are called variables because their answer varies. We don't know what number they are till we solve equations. The number in front of the variable is called the coefficient. And it could also be at the bottom. You could have x divided by 3. Okay, that is a coefficient, a number that is multiplied or divided by the variable. Okay, and that reads 3 times x. All right, all of these are terms. This number that does not have a letter, this one right here, is called a constant. It's constant because we know what number that is. It's not multiplied by a variable, so that number is not going to change until we add or subtract it to another number. Okay, so let's go back to what we were doing. So this assignment is combining like terms. What does that mean? We can combine or add or subtract constants together because they're the same. They don't have a letter, no variable, they all match. We can combine or add and subtract variables that match and their numbers in front. So x's can go with x's, y's can go with y's, but you can't mix them up. All right, so I think it helps to just work a few. So this says it's best if we have it at 50%, and your levels are at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to put this at 50 so we can see it. All right. It says here, simplify each algebraic expression. Use the format with no spaces when you type in the answer. So you can see they have A is numbers. A times X plus B times Y plus C. Okay, what that means is you can't put these together. X's can go with X's, Y's can go with Y's, and C's can go with C's. And a quick reminder, anytime a letter is by itself, there's always a 1 in front of it. Always a 1. All right. So let's go look at some of the levels. We have level 0 to start. And it's going to bring these up. We're going to type in the answers, but I'm going to work them over to the side. So the very first thing we have here, and also when we work these, we want to change them to all addition. Addition. That means change, adding the opposite. Okay, the first one we have is, doesn't want to let me write there. Let me go back. Pin 5x's plus x. So that is going to be written as 5x's plus 1x, because we just have one of them there. So they both have x's. They match. So that means we can combine them. They are like terms. And 5 plus 1 is 6 x's. So basically, it's 5 plus 1 times x. But you don't have to go to that extent. So that's why combining like terms is part of the distributive property. All right, let's clear that. So we have the first one. I need to fix that real quick. Take that off. Whatever I did to it, there we go. I need that to go away. All right, I'm going to go over here. There we go. And I'm going to type in that answer, which was 6x. And it's going to turn black if it's correct. And there it goes. And see, it starts coloring. So I don't want to color too much because I want to be able to write over there. All right, let's go to the next one. 9x is minus x. 9x minus 1x. Because remember, there's always a 1 if the letter or variable is by itself. Okay, and 9 minus 1 is 8 x's. So the answer to that would be 8 x's. Okay, they both have x's, so we can combine the numbers in front. All right, next one we have is 2 x's minus 2 x's. They both have x's, so that means we can combine the numbers in front. 2x's minus 2x's is 0, not 0 x's, because we don't have any x's left. So that means the answer is just 0. You don't leave a letter on 0, okay? Because when we have a letter, that means there's a 1 in front of it. So that means it's completely gone, and we have 0 x's. So we just put 0. No x. All right. The next one. 10 x's plus 2 minus 2 x's. Now, there's a couple different ways you can do this, and I'm going to show you both ways. The first thing I'm going to do is change that so it's all addition. So I go through and I get rid of my subtraction by doing no subtraction, find my subtraction sign, and I do my change so that we're adding the opposite number. Why is that important? Now we can move things around. Can't move things in subtraction, but if you're adding, you can. Remember the associative property of addition. So that means you can regroup them. So I can put my x's next to my x's plus 2. And now I can combine the terms that are like. I can put my 10x's plus my negative 2x's together because both of those have x's. All right? So 10 plus negative 2. Different signs. We can't add them. So we subtract them. We get 8. We have more positives than negatives, so it's positive 8 x's left. Plus the 2. That 2 cannot go with these because it does not have an x on it. And there is no other numbers, constants, without letters to add with the 2. So there we go. That's our answer. And when we type it in, we'd leave no spaces. We would type 8x plus 2. Okay, just like that. No spaces between any of the terms. All right. Let's go to the next one. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Meant to clear the screen first. All right, next one we have is 6 plus x minus 1 minus x. So remember, the first thing I want to do is get rid of subtraction by changing it to adding the opposite, doing our change. I'm also going to put ones in front of any numbers or letters, any letters that don't have coefficients or numbers. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Here's my first negative plus a negative. And I had an x by itself, so I'm going to put a 1 there. And then I'm going to go through, another one, plus a negative. And I'm going to put a 1 there. Now, I can reorder this because I have addition now, the associative property of addition, and I can rewrite that. I usually try and put my variables first. That gives me 1x plus a negative 1x plus 6 plus negative 1. So we could do it that way. Another way to do it is put different shapes or colors around things that you can combine. For instance, I can put my x's with my x's. So I could do this, make sure you get the signs inside your shape, and then I could do a different color or a different shape for my constants. So now I know that the circles can go with the circles, the squares, or whatever you want to call those, rectangles can go with those. Or I can reorder them. If you reorder them, make sure you have them in, you wrote everything down. You're not missing anything. If you need to check them off, check them off. So let's go check it. I can put my x's with my x's, and I have 1 plus negative 1. Those are opposites. And when you add opposites, the additive inverse, you get 0. That means I have no x's left. 0 x's means no x's, so we don't write anything. We don't even need to write 0. So, because we've got other numbers. So, we've got 6 plus negative 1. Can't add those. Can't add different signs. We subtract. 6 minus 1 is 5. We have 6 positives, 1 negatives, so it's a positive 5. And that's my answer. That is my answer for number 5. All right, clear the screen. Now let's go on to number 6. Number 6 gave us 6x's plus 4 plus 2x's. Again, I go through, I have no subtraction. I can reorder this if I want. Put my x's with my x's to make it easier using that associative property of addition. Okay? Or I could use my shapes. Or different colors. Whichever you prefer. Okay? I know that my rectangles go with my rectangles. Okay. Down here, I know that these two are next to each other. They both have x's, so they can be combined or added. 6 plus 2 is 8 x's. What do I have left? Plus 4. The 4 cannot be added to the 8x's because the 4 is a constant. It does not have a variable or letter on it. So it is a different type of term. They got to match exact. And that's our answer. And when I type it in, I would type it 8x plus 4. No spaces. All right, let's move on. I want to do a few of these, make it easier for you. All right, we are down to number 7. We have 9 plus x minus 7. So the first thing I'm going to do is go through. If I have any letters by themselves, I might put a 1, but that's the only x I have. But if you put a 1 there, you can always take it off. And then if I have any subtraction, I'm going to do change, and add the opposite. Now I can move that thing around. I can put my variable first, plus 9 plus negative 7. So we only have the 1x. It can't go with anything else. It doesn't match any of the other terms. So I'm just going to put x because I don't need the 1 in front of it. You don't want to leave the 1 in front of it on the answers. And then I have 9 plus negative 7. Those can go together. You can't add them. They're different signs. So we stop. We subtract 9 minus 7. We get 2. I have more positives than negatives, so it is a positive 2. And there's your answer, x plus 2. No spaces when you type that. All right, number 8. 5 plus x plus 3 plus 2 x's. All right, no subtraction. But we do have an x by itself, so I'm going to put a 1 in front of it. Now, you can rewrite that using the associative property, since they're all addition, and put your x's with your x next to your x's, 1x plus 2x plus 5 plus 3. If you rewrite, make sure you got everything. Go check it off. All right. Now I can put my x's with my x's. I have 1 plus 2, which gives me 3x's. And I can put my constant with my constant. 5 plus 3 is 8. 3x's plus 8. That's what I'm left with. And see, that's written with fewer terms. That is called combining like terms. Now, if I didn't want to rewrite it in a different order, I could have used shapes and colors. Put a rectangle around my x's. And then put like a circle around my constants. So you can use different shapes, different colors, whichever way you like best, what works for you. There's our answer, 3x plus 8. And that is for number 8. All right, number 9. You're getting harder. We have 11x's plus 9 minus 9x's. All right, I'm going to go through first. Look for any subtraction. Oh, there we go. We're going to do change, and add the opposite number. Then we can rewrite that with our x's next to our x's, regrouping, which is the associative property, plus 9. Okay, we have x's that can go together. 11 plus negative 9. Different signs, we can't add them. We do 11 minus 9. We get 2 x's, and it's going to be a positive 2 because we have 11 positives and 9 negatives. And we're done with our x's. Plus 9 is left over. Remember, that 9 is a constant. It doesn't have any letters. It cannot be put in with the other terms. It doesn't match. And that's our answer, 2x plus 9. All right, 10. 4 plus 6x's, or 6 times x, minus 4. So first thing I'm going to do, go through. I don't have any letters by themselves, but I do have a minus, so I'm going to do change, and add the opposite sign. Now I can rewrite that as 4. I put my x's first, so 6x plus 4 plus negative 4. I can't do anything with the 6x. He's lonely. But you have 4 plus negative 4. Those are opposites, additive, inverse. And when you add a number and its opposite, you always get 0. But I'm not going to put plus 0 because we don't need it. It's nothing. So our answer is just 6 times x, 6x. All right. We are on to number 11. Number 11. 8x's plus 3 plus x plus 2. All right, I go through. I don't have any subtraction, but I do have a letter or variable by itself. I'm going to put the 1 there. That's kind of important. People forget that there's a 1 there, and they forget to add or subtract it. Now I can write that in a different order if I want. 8x's plus 1x, and put the things next to each other that I can add, plus 3 plus 2. All right. 8x's plus 1x gives me 9x's. Plus 3 plus 2 gives me 5. The 5 cannot go with the 9x's because it does not have an x on it. Now, if you were using a different method and didn't want to rewrite, have a square around that, a rectangle around that, and circles or whatever you decided to use around the constants. And I could have done it that way, whichever way you prefer. All right, I am not going to do too many more on here. I am going to do number 12. But the reason I'm not going to do a bunch is I want to save some for you to try. All right, we've got 15 plus 8x's minus 10 minus x. All right, let's go through. Find our subtraction signs. Change, add the opposite. Change, and I'm going to put a 1 there. So I don't forget, there's 1 there. Now we could rewrite that with our x's next to our x's, and that would be 8x's plus negative 1x plus 15 plus negative 10. And make sure you have them exactly the way they're supposed to be. My x's go with my x's. 8 plus negative 1, they're different signs. We can't add them. We do 8 minus 1, which gives me 9 x's. I put 9. Youch! Hope you just ignored what I just said. That was wrong, Miss Coffman. Well, at least you know even Miss Coffman makes mistakes. See, even I make them. So 8 plus negative 1. We're going to subtract. We get 7. We have more positives than negatives, so we have 7 x's. And then we have 15 plus negative 10. Can't add those two. Different signs. They're going different directions on the number line. So 15 minus 10 is 5. We have more positives than negatives, so it is plus 5. And that's your answer. And you move right along. See, even I make mistakes. That's why you use scratch paper. I'm going to do 18 real quick, and then I'm going to look at a couple on level 1 and 2. So 18, 12 plus x minus 2 plus x plus 3x's. So I'm going to go through, change my subtraction to adding the opposite or change. Look for any letters that are or variables that are by themselves to put that 1 in front. There's 1. There's a subtraction. Change to adding the opposite. There's another variable by itself, and I'm good. Now I'm going to put all my x's together first. We have 1x plus 1x plus 3x's. Now I'm going to put my variables, plus 12 plus negative 2. And as they get longer, you want to go check them off. So let's check them off. I have 1x. There's that. Plus 1x. There's that. Plus 3x's. Got that. Plus 12. Got that. Plus negative 2. Got that. I got them all. All right, let's put them together. 1x plus 1x is 2x's. Plus 3x's is 5x's. Plus, I've got 12 plus negative 2. We can't add those together. We subtract and keep the sign that we have the most of, which is positive. That gives it 12 minus 2 gives us 10. And there's our answer. So, I'm not going to work all of those on the page. Let's glance at some of them on level 1, okay? Level 1. All right? And these get a little bit harder, right? Little bit harder. Some of them are the same. Some of them are harder. So I'm going to go down to number 14. Number 12 first. Let's do number 12. You have minus 2, negative 2 plus 8x's minus 3 minus x. You always want to make sure you copied it down right, too. All right, I'm going to go through and change any subtraction, not negatives, subtraction, to do my change, adding the opposite. And then if I have any variables or letters that are by themselves, I'm going to put the 1 in front. There's my first subtraction. Add the opposite, change. There's another subtraction. Add the opposite and put that 1 in front. Now I'm going to put my x's with my x's. 8x plus negative 1x. Now my numbers, my constants, I'm done with those. We've got plus negative 3 plus negative 2. Because a minus and a negative are the same thing. Correct? All right, let's do our x's first. 8 plus negative 1. We have different signs. We can't add them. They go different directions on the number line. 8 minus 1 is 7. 7 x's. All right, here comes the tricky one. We have got negative 3 plus negative 2. They're the same signs. Remember, you can add them when they're the same sign. Same sign, keep the sign, add the numbers. That gives me plus negative 5. But that's not the way we're going to write the answer. Okay? We're going to write it as subtraction because plus a negative and a subtraction are the same thing. Remember, we only change them so we can move things around. So this would be written as 7 times x minus 5. It's the same thing. And that's our answer. All right. Let's grab and do, there's a good one, number 15. 1 plus 2x's minus 3x's minus 4. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is go through and do change on my subtraction. Change, add the opposite, change, add the opposite. Now I'm going to put my x's with my x's. Negative 3x plus 2x's plus 1 plus negative 4. All right, let's do our x's first. We have negative 3 plus a positive 2. That's different signs. We don't add them. They cross over each other on the number line. So we're going to subtract. 3 minus 2 gives me 1, but we have more negatives than positives, so that's a negative 1x. Don't worry about how we write it yet. And then plus, we've got 1 plus negative 4. Again, different signs. We cannot add them. So we do 4 minus 1, which gives us 3. We have more negatives than positives, so it's a negative 3. Now we need to write this answer in the correct way. Okay? Now, we don't leave the 1 in front of the x, but you're going to say, Miss Coffman, there's a negative. That's okay. We leave the negative x. And then we've got plus a negative 3, which is the same as minus 3. And that's how the answer would be. Negative x minus 3. That's it, folks. All right, one more on this page. Negative 5x's minus x minus 8 minus x. So I'm going to go through first, and I'm going to do change on any of my subtraction. I'm also going to put a 1 with any variables or letters, that's what variable means, that are by themselves. I never do the first number because that's a negative. All right, here we go. There's subtraction, change, and there's put a 1 in front of it. Change, or add the opposite. Change, put a 1 in front of it. Now I'm going to put all of my x's and write them together. I have negative 5 times x, negative 5x's, plus negative 1x's, plus negative 1x's. So I've got all my x's, plus negative 8. And remember, you write them this way, even though we change it back to subtraction, so that we can move them around, because you can't move subtraction. Can't do it. All right. So, same signs, we can add them. We have got same sign. So negative 5 plus negative 1 is negative 6. And then we've got another negative. Negative 6 plus negative 1 is negative 7. Negative 7 x's plus that negative 8. So we want to rewrite that in the correct way to get our answer. It is negative 7 x's minus 8. And you're ready to type in your answer. All right, clear screen. Number 16 looks hard, but it isn't. You have x minus 2 minus x plus x. All right, get rid of my subtraction. Put a 1 in front of my letters that are by themselves. Plus a negative. Okay, change. Put a 1. Put a 1. All right, we ready to do it? Put our x's together. We have 1x plus negative 1x plus 1x plus negative 2. All right, 1 plus negative 1. Those x's cancel out. Give us 0. Nothing. That leaves us with 1x plus negative 2. But we can't write it that way for our answer. We don't need to leave the 1 on there. So we just put x. And we don't put plus a negative on the answer. We just put minus 2. All right. There's your answer. Good to go. Now, for those of you that would love to try level 2, let's take a peek. Level 2. Here they come. They're coming. They are not that much harder. They're just bigger numbers. And you can use your calculator. Got to use your sign rules, though. Sign rules. All right. Let me grab one. Gee darn, they're just not that bad. Let's do the second one. Second one. You've got 3x's minus 26x's. First thing I'm going to do is get rid of subtraction. Change. Add the opposite. There we go. So, they both have x's, meaning we can combine them. They are like terms. 3 plus negative 26, different signs. We cannot add them together. So we subtract and keep the sign of the most. 26 minus 3 is 23. We have 3 positives and 26 negatives, way more negatives. And that's your answer. And you're done. All right, clear that screen. All right, let's look at another one we've got down here. How about number 11? Got negative 11 plus 36 x's minus 28 plus 37 x's. All right, are we ripborn ready to go? We're going to go change our subtraction. Change. We've got one subtraction. Remember, the minus 11 is not subtraction. That is a negative 11. It's first. So, change, add the opposite. So, let's put the stuff together that goes together. We have 36 x's plus 37 x's plus negative 11 plus negative 28. Now, you can either use the calculator or go over to the side. Our x's can go with our x's. So that's going to be 37 plus 36 first. 7 plus 6 is 13. So I got 3, carry my 1. 3 plus 3 is 6. 1 more is 7. So we end up with 73 x's. I'm going to put a plus. All right. We have got 2 negatives. Negative 11 plus negative 28. Same sign. Keep the sign. Add the numbers. I'm going to go ahead and put my negative right now. And then I don't need to worry about it as I add these two together because you can add them. They have, remember, the same signs. So 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 plus 1 is 3. You end up with negative 39. Now, before I type that in, we don't leave plus a negative, so we rewrite that as subtraction. 73 x's minus 39. And you are good to go. Clear that screen. I'm going to do one more. Number 17. You have 50 plus 6 x's plus 1 minus 22 x's. All right. I'm going to go through, change any of my subtraction to adding the opposite, do my change, because remember, I can't move things around if I have any subtraction. No subtraction, no subtraction, no up, there we go. Change. And now I can rewrite that. Put my x's with my x's, my constants with my constants. 6x plus negative 22 x's plus 50 plus 1. And then go back and check and make sure you got everything and you got the right signs. We do have negative 22 x's. We do have 6 x's. We do have a 50. And we do have a 1. I like when they get bigger and longer, putting the things that match together. Okay, so 6 plus negative 22. We can't add those. They're different signs. They go different directions on the number line. Remember, different signs. Stop, subtract, keep the sign of the most. 22 minus 6 is going to give me 16. I have more negatives than positives, so it's negative 16x's plus 50 plus 1 is 51, and you are done. So try some of these on your own, okay? And I know you can do it. Combining like terms. Change all subtraction to do change, adding the opposite sign. Then put your x's with your x's or whatever letter you're using. Okay, you separate them into groups by letters. If it doesn't have a letter, it's called a constant. And you can only add constants with constants. They can't go with any other letter. On the illuminate, we had something that looked like this, 36 A's minus 16. And so many of you picked the answer of 20 A's. You can't do that. The 16 does not have a variable, so it cannot add or subtract to the 36. It has to have exactly the same letter. Exactly the same. Okay? All right. I hope this helped. I hope you get your picture colored and get your bonus. Good luck, and I will talk to you in class.